grand total of 79 turnovers in his career, 24 and 55? No, that's not going to get the job done. He cannot continuously turn the football over. In the words of Gollum from The Lord of the Ring, precious. That precious. You know, he was always talking about that precious ring. No, it's all about that precious football. That's what it's all about. He can't turn the football over. I don't care how great of a football player you are. You cannot turn the football over, especially when you don't have a defense. You have to have a defense if you're going to sit there and constantly and routinely turn the football over. But like I've said before, this amount of money, we've never seen a quarterback get this type of money. See, I would feel comfortable in a player getting that type of money if he actually won a Super Bowl. See, I'm all about championships. I don't know about you, but for me, when it comes to especially basketball and football, not so much baseball, I always look at championships. How many championships do you have on your hand? That's what I look at, especially if you're a quarterback. That's what I look at. So when I look at Andrew Luck, I'm like, nah. And especially, you got to think, his kryptonite is who? Mr. Tom Brady. Brady, I mean, when you look at Tom Brady looks like he can play another good 5 years. So I understand that Luck, you know, he's still young, but he's going to have to be able to get through that guy. And then, not to mention the up-and-coming players that we have in the National Football League. And then I'm looking at this and I'm saying, okay, so he got more money than Eli, Phillip Rivers. I don't know why the Chargers gave him $65 million guaranteed. I don't understand that. I mean, the only thing that Phillip Rivers is known for is playing in an AFC championship game on one leg. That's not going to get the job done for me. And then we got Big Ben Roethlisberger. Okay, I'll give you that. That guy is a champion. See, I want to give guys who have won that type of money, not guys who haven't won. When will when will ownership make guys earn their money? When are they going to do that? Like, you know what? We want to pay you. We want to give you this money, but you're going to have to earn it. I'm just not going to give you anything. Like, life is hard. And for somebody to sit there and just give you money and you really haven't earned it, that's a true blessing, because it really doesn't happen. So Andrew Luck, he's going to have to play better. And I understand that, you know, he has the fourth most passing yards by any quarterback in his first 4 seasons in the NFL. I get that. In history, I understand that. But at the end of the day, the man in his career, he still has 79 turnovers. That's not good. You can't turn the football over. I don't care who you are. That was one of the main things that got Brett Favre in trouble. Constantly turning the football over. It's like, yes, Brett Favre, you're great. Yes, you won all those MVPs. Yes, you won the Super Bowl. But, man, you can't keep turning the football over, dude. You can't do that. The same thing with Andrew Luck. And hold up. Brett Favre actually won a Super Bowl. This guy, he hasn't won anything. So I guess I'm leaning towards no, he don't deserve this type of money. But then it's always on, well, what about his upside? He did come into the NFL. He did play well. You know, he did go to the postseason. He did do all of these things. But the last time I checked, the NFL stands for not very long. And also, what have you done for me lately? And what has Andrew Luck done for me lately is turn the football over and not play well. That's what he has done. See, first people was making the excuse, well, you know, it's the defense. So then they got rid of their defensive coordinator. I thought that was wrong. Well, it's the run game. Well, it's this, and it's the offensive line. Once they got some of that squared away, then it's like, well, what about Andrew Luck? Nobody wants to say that. Nobody wants to say that the golden boy is not so golden. Nobody wants to hold him accountable. But see, one thing about me, the Grizz, and I told you from the beginning, the first time I started, that I'm going to keep it 100. I have to. It's in my DNA. I have to do this. The man hasn't done that. Yes, he has went to hold on. Let me say this, because I don't want to make it seem like I'm bashing him. The fact that he hasn't had a run game, the defense hasn't been all that good, and he was still able to have success, I can't take that away from Andrew Luck. I can't do that. But at the end of the day, I need for you to get better. I don't need for you to regress. And then people sit there and make an excuse for him. No. I don't do that. No, if you can do it once, that means you can do it again. I used to sit there and see Tom Brady carry a horrible Patriots team to the postseason. You'd be like, really, Bill Belichick? You didn't get nobody? I'm looking at Tom Brady throw, I don't want to call them bums, but they're like a step. I'm not going to call them bums. I'm just going to say they're like mediocre football players. And I'm looking at Tom Brady throw to these guys, and I'm like, wow, it's a miracle. That really shows how great Tom Brady really is. Andrew Luck was somewhat doing that. But then he started to regress. And then as he was regressing, then here goes Cam Newton. Cam Newton start to elevate his game, but you don't hear too many people sit there and say, oh, Cam Newton is a better quarterback than Andrew Luck. They always tend to find a reason why Cam Newton is not a better quarterback than Andrew Luck. But I think I've talked about this a few months ago about who would I rather have at this stage of their career, Cam Newton or Andrew Luck. And for me, I'm going to go with Cam Newton. Why? Cam Newton offensively, let's be honest with that football team. They were horrible. Anytime you have Ted Ginn Jr. and you have to rely on stone hands to catch a football, it's a miracle that he even got to the Super Bowl with that type of team. It's a miracle that he was able to do that. And I just love the fact that Cam actually learned how to play in the pocket. But this is all about Andrew Luck. Andrew Luck has to play better football. But coming up on the Grizz, I have a lot to talk about on this particular topic. Who will win more Super Bowls in Indianapolis since he got the big deal? Would it be Andrew Luck or Peyton Manning? I have a lot to talk about. But coming up on the Grizz, I have a little bit of Johnny Manziel, and then also I'm going to talk about some Iron Mike Tyson and who are your top 3 wide receivers. The NFL Network has their top 3 wide receivers. I'll talk about that next here in other sports topics on the Grizz. we're back, and this is the Grizz. Thank you for tuning in to me here on SME. Excuse me. So, I was listening to the show a few days ago, well, yesterday, and the day before, and Doug was talking about the Game of Thrones, and, he was trying to talk about Daenerys Targaryen and, where she comes from and how she's related to Jon Snow. So, I just want to expound upon that and give a little bit more clarity. Okay, so this is how it goes. So, Jon Starks is the son of Lyanna Starks, who was Ned Stark's sister, who Ned Starks was killed in the first season by Joffrey Baratheon, who had his head chopped off. And then the Mad King, who was Daenerys Targaryen's father and daughter, that was their relationship. He had a son named Rhaegar Targaryen, who some say that he had kidnapped Lyanna Stark and raped her, and then others said that they had eloped with each other. That's the connection. So they're not brothers and sisters. They're more like, was it cousins? Like first cousins or something like that. They're like first, second cousins. That's where the tree falls when it comes to, their kingship. So yes, there's no bigger fan than me when it comes to the Game of Thrones. Like I've said before, I am a nerd. And I've came to this realization of, I want to say it's 6 months to a year. My girl, she was telling me like you're pretty much like a nerd. Oh, excuse me. Like you're pretty much a nerd. I love all the Marvel comic films. I just love Marvel. I'm off into all of that stuff. I love Lord of the Rings. I mean, that's just the type of guy I am. So, but here's the thing. I'm more like a cool type of nerd. I'm one of those nerds that, if all of the other nerds and geeks are with, they're going to flock to me because I'm like the cool one. And I've said this before, I've never been cool a day in my life, but I know I'll be cool amongst them. I'm the type of nerd that if the bully, what was that, Revenge of the Nerds, the ogre, if the ogre would have tried to bully me, he would have, number one, caught a jab, and then, boom, I would have hit him with a right hand, and then if he didn't drop from that, then I would have came with that good old left hook, wham, and then that's it. So I wouldn't be the type of nerd that would be bullied. Nah, that's just not me. He'll probably try to bully the other nerds, but he's not going to bully me. So that's the Game of Thrones. I am a huge Game of Thrones fan. I talk about the Game of Thrones on this show a lot. And speaking of the Game of Thrones, now, if you have watched the Game of Thrones, you know about the Starks and, the decimation of them and then the resurgence of the Stark family. I wound up having goosebumps when I seen Lady Marymount call out all of the families in the North and putting them on blast. I just love that. I mean, she's about 10 years old, and she said it straight like, you didn't do this when he sit there, when Ramsay Bolton, when he killed your father. You didn't do anything at the Red Wedding which your son was killed at. You guys didn't do